So I just wanted to give you a really quick overview of two electric skateboards that I built with my son. The first one that we've got here, I wanted to build it with him. We wanted something that would be suitable for both of us to go on. I weigh over 100 kilos, so I needed something that would have plenty of torque. And the reason why I'm putting this video together is when I looked on YouTube, on the internet, there was a lot of different information out there and I wasn't sure what would actually work for us. So started off with this, which is a 149 kV rated motor, and paired that initially with a 6S battery pack, knowing that it could take a lot more, but that would be a get us started, and the calculated top speed would be about 12 miles an hour. Now, the results from this were really, really good. I was so pleased. In terms of the hill climbing ability, we've got some fairly big hills near us, and if I squeeze the throttle on the accelerator, it powers up the hills with me on board. So I was really, really pleased. But the 12 mile an hour top speed is fairly slow. So we ended up fitting a second battery pack, doubling the voltage, which then boosted us to 24 miles an hour, which is a lot quicker if you're on one of these. 24 miles an hour when your feet are a couple inches above the ground feels really, really fast. So been really pleased with this setup. In terms of its ability to pull me along as well, I can honestly say that if I'm anywhere near a hill, I can just squeeze the throttle and it just keeps pulling. It's fantastic. However, for my son, who's a lot lighter than me, it's probably a little bit too torquey. So what was happening is if he slipped on the throttle, the board would go flying out underneath him. So we wanted to build something that'd be a bit more suitable for him. So we ended up building this one, which is a standard size skateboard. It looks a lot smaller, but I think it's because of the big wheels and trucks that are on it. And what we fitted was a 245 kV rated motor, which is higher speed, but a bit less torque, and slightly different gear ratio on there. So we've got a 16 tooth onto a 36, and on here a 12 tooth onto a 36. And an 8S battery pack, so a slightly different battery pack on there. So it was greater than what we started with here, but less than what we sort of finished with. But it's more matched to this motor. So 8S and a 245 kV rated motor is a good kind of combination. And in terms of the power that it has, I can say when I get on it, I certainly feel that it doesn't have as much acceleration as the Longboard, but in terms of the actual kind of overall performance, it's still a great board for him. The fact that he's a lot lighter than me, it has absolutely no problem pulling him around, and it'll pull him uphill, no problems at all. But for me, if I try and do any kind of hills on this, it slows down really, really considerably, and it will stop on anything significant. The other things to bear in mind is the weight of the boards. So the Longboard is a lot heavier. The Longboard's 11 kilos, so it's a really heavy board. So for him, it's not really great to carry around, whereas the board that we built him in the end is 5 kilos, so it's a lot more manageable. In terms of the sort of mileage that you can get out of them, I haven't drained them fully yet, so I don't know what they'll go down to, but in terms of the Longboard, if we go out for a couple of miles just sort of larking about nearby, then after a couple of miles I'm still way into the 90s. I'm like 96, 98%, whereas on the one that we've got here, this will be down into the 80s. So this is a 3000 milliamp hour battery. This is a 5000 milliamp hour battery, so we've got a lot more battery, a lot more amps and volts coming out of this, so obviously makes a difference. I hope that's been helpful. If anybody has any questions, then please put them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them.